Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. We are live, and today we have a very interesting topic. Let's go ahead and get started. Share my screen. There you go. Alrighty, so we're going to go over some strategies on how to collaborate with influencers, but the focus today is going to be how to collaborate with influencers for business to business. So I always hear from customers that influencer marketing is not for them simply because they're targeting other businesses, right? They're in the commercial space, oil and gas, healthcare, manufacturing, and they just don't see the value on influencer marketing because typically when you're thinking of an influencer, you're thinking of someone dancing in front of a camera, which there's nothing wrong with that. Right? Who doesn't like to dance? So first, before we go ahead and get started, just make sure that you are following us on all of the platforms as usual. We are on literally all of them: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. All right, so what's going to be the agenda for today? First, we're going to go over on understanding what's the value of influencer partnerships. I'm not going to go over so much on what an influencer is because I think we all understand that. Then we're going to go over on some strategies for identifying business-to-business influencer and what do you need to look for, right? Because it's a little bit different than just looking for a regular business-to-consumer, right? So Instagram might not be necessarily the place you're looking for, or TikTok, right? Then we're going to go over some best practices for managing your corporate influencer campaigns. And then lastly, I'm going to go over a few examples. So we have a lot to cover today, but if you stick with me by the end, I'm going to be offering, of course, as usual, a complimentary one-on-one consultation, 15, 30 minutes, just so we can analyze your current campaigns. Okay, let's go ahead and get started first with what is the value, of influencer partnerships, right? More than anything, I think we need to really understand that an influencer is there to help you amplify the reach of your brand, right? Just think about an influencer, right? They already have a captive audience. That's why on the next slides, we're going to analyze kind of like how to choose the right partner for you. Because the main role of an influencer is to amplify the reach of your brand. And quite honestly, is the easiest way, especially if you are a new business-to-business company or if you're entering a new market. That is the best way to amplify your reach quickly. It's kind of like back in the day, guerrilla marketing, when we didn't have digital marketing. There's a lot of guerrilla marketing tactics, which basically meant that you had your brand spread out in multiple sources, but it was like a small, like silent campaign, right? Like nobody saw a huge billboard on the street, but a lot of like referral partners will talk about your brand. This is pretty much the same thing, right? So you're thinking about choosing the right influencer for you, which is a commercial, like a business influencer that's going to help talk and promote your brand to their core audience, increasing, of course, your brand reach. Now, this will help you build trust and authenticity because people that are following that influencer, they already trust that person, right? And they have their own style, they have their own way of talking and expressing and sharing things. So people are going to be able to relate with that person. And, of course, if you choose the right person for your brand and it's aligned with your core values, then you're going to be able to build automatically that trust with their audience as well. Like that translate to building that authenticity with your brand as well. And lastly, the biggest value of this type of partnerships is that it truly drives engagement. And if you create a strategy that it's really dynamic, it's going to allow you to connect with your audience in different ways that you perhaps never even thought about, right? Because remember, you are in the nitty-gritty of your company, especially like, let's say you're a manufacturing company, right? Or you're talking to engineers all day, right? So that's all you talk every single day. When you are partnering with influencers, they're coming with fresh ideas. They know the audience better than you. because they are constantly engaging with them. So they're going to be able to give you that knowledge for you to be able to create an engaging campaign, translating in a better connection with your audience, right? Okay, so let me see where we at. Now, next, let's go and let's talk about how to find the right influencer. So like this, like throw up at you. Everything is on the floor. All right. So it's very easy, right? First, research and evaluate the influencers. Listen to the market, monitor, and analyze for the performance, right, of the content. So it sounds very easy, right? By identifying the right influencer, I believe that's the tricky part. So let's start with number one, right? Doing the research part. When you're thinking about researching for influencers in this specific industry, think about platforms like LinkedIn, right? And I just realized I didn't include LinkedIn logo, right? But first, to research, focus on Affluence Tracker as well. That's where you can go and research for influencers. Now, what you want to make sure, though, is that you are looking for influencers that are constantly posting on your like specific associations, right? So look for professionals. That's why I added LinkedIn. So let's say you go to Affluence, you go to Tracker, you come up with a list of potential influencers, then go to LinkedIn and kind of like look at the followers if they have like over 10,000, over 100,000, over like what kind of influencer they are, right? Because there's also types of influencers. You have micro influencers and then you have like brand, like large influencers. Choose the right ones that are for you. I highly recommend going with micro influencers. And I have another video about that actually, so I'm not going to go too much into detail. But the main reason is because they are able to connect with their audience and they're still on that early stages where they are constantly making comments and really engaging with the audience. And that's the most important part of working with influencers, that engagement part. That's what you want to look for. So when you're analyzing that influencer, go to LinkedIn, look at that. Then also look at kind of like if they are, I'm just going to hide this too for now. If they are constantly posting on platforms like Reddit, right? Like if they're answering in different forums at Reddit, or if they're like posting blogs or posting content on Medium, right? Those are really good platforms. If you are very niche specific, I will even go ahead and look at the associations and trade organizations specific for your industry and just try to see if they are posting there. Also look at people that have podcasts that, that are very industry specific as well. Those can be really good influencers. Look for those leaders that are frequently creating webinars, speaking at conferences, or their guests at panel discussions in these like associations that I was telling you. Just try to see if they're very active as well. Don't choose someone just because they were a speaker at a conference or like a association, and then you go to them and you try to work with them without doing those 2 steps before of looking at their audience on LinkedIn and trying to see if they are actually active on platforms like Medium or Reddit, right? Make sure that you do your job, you do your due diligence, and make sure that you're choosing someone that's active with their audience, okay? Now, once you choose the type of partners or the type of influencers that you're going to be working with, just engage with them first. Try to see how they respond to you, right? And once you kind of like get a good feeling of that person, then go ahead and engage with them directly, right? Like send them a message, schedule a meeting, whatever it is that you need to do. But before you do that, I do recommend that, if they are hosting webinars, attend to one of their webinars. If they are speaking at a specific events, go see them. If they have podcasts, listen to some of their podcasts. Try to make comments and try to see how they engage with you, okay? So that's really part of how to evaluate your influencers, right? The next step is to listen, right? Listen and monitor, kind of like this goes outside your influencer, right? So when you're creating a strategy to identify them, try to see the content that they are posting and if that's aligning with your audience, right? Because one thing is choosing an influencer partner that they can have a great reach, but if they're not aligned with the type of topics that your audience is interested in, then they may not be the right partner for you. This is when you can use, let me see, there you go. You can use tools like BuzzSumo. There you go. So BuzzSumo can help you kind of like monitor content and kind of like what's people talking about. There's another tool that it's called Answer to the Public that will help you kind of like find out what kind of questions people are asking or wondering, especially if you're looking for a specific content on your industry. This is extremely important for niche specific companies, right? Because you're not in the mass media, right? So the type of content people are talking is extremely specific and they are not trending most of the time. So it's not as easy to find. So doing your research will pay very well in the future. Okay. So, and then lastly, of course, you want to analyze, and that's when SEM Rush comes into play as well. So BuzzSumo and SEM Rush can help you identify those top performing content that's related to your audience or to your specific industry topic, and see kind of like even who's posting that kind of content, right? So imagine you're going to research and evaluate influencers. You're going to come up with a list of 5 or 6 influencers that you're kind of like interested. So you're going to start listening and monitoring them, right? So you're going to go to one of their webinars, listen to one of their podcasts, comment, kind of like listen to what it is that they're posting, read some of their Medium posts that they're posting there. But then you can use BuzzSumo and SEM Rush to actually run kind of like a backlink report. That's really what it's called. So backlinks are basically posts about a specific website or a specific keyword that other people are posting, right? So look for those backlinks for specific keywords that matter to your audience. And based on that, you're going to be able to see who was the author of that content, right? And that's kind of how you can see if the influencers that you're choosing are actually connected to your audience. Please comment any questions that you have if I got you confused. This part, I feel like, is the most important part to actually choose the right influencer partner, because this will literally make or break your campaign, right? Because choosing the wrong partner, just like in anything in life, right? Choosing the wrong partner will not be, it's not how you win it, really. All right. Another last comment on this, I will highly recommend that when you do engage with influencers, check their past collaborations. Ask who have they worked with, how was their previous partnerships, evaluate the metrics of their previous partnerships. I think that's really important to see if, again, it's going to relate to your audience as well, right? Now, for that, of course, make sure you have your audience persona very well developed and you're not just trying to figure it out, or you're not just saying, oh, yeah, I just target all small business owners, or I target manufacturing companies in oil and gas. That's too broad. You need to really understand who your audience persona is, because otherwise you're going to end up creating generic content that is not going to connect to your audience. Okay? So what are the best practices? Once you engage with your influencer, the best practice really is just to create a campaign where there's some sort of co-creation of content. So this basically means, like I mentioned before, you are very focused on your industry, right? Like on creating, manufacturing that oil tool or whatever it is that you're doing. And these influencers are out there constantly engaging with your audience. So you want to co-create content where you are sharing a little bit about your process and they are able to tell you more about the audience that you're trying to target. And involving the influencer in that creative process will pay off way better than you trying to come up with a strategy, you trying to come up with a content campaign, and then just engaging with the influencer. I think it's better to have a broad idea of what your content strategy is going to be, but don't have a definitive idea. Leave room for their ideas to flow and make it very engaging for your audience. Because again, they are the ones that are out there in the field constantly engaging with them. Okay, then we have, of course, transparency and compliance, right? I think it's extremely important, especially for oil and gas company, manufacturing, healthcare companies, to very clearly outline all the compliance issues. Like, you cannot say these type of words. You cannot show this type of content. You cannot show, I don't know, someone not wearing, goggles or gloves. Like, things like that is extremely important to have like a checklist of all the don't do's. And then also clearly outline what are your expectations. What's going to make it a successful strategy for you? This will help you have like a win-win partnership and a really good partnership agreement as well, because you're all going to be kind of like very clear. There's going to be transparency on the expectations, on the deliverables, on the timelines as well. Make sure that they are also very transparent with you, like sharing things like, for example, the type of audience they have, real numbers. And you can always use different softwares to pull that information so you can compare and see if they are, let's be honest, telling the truth or just fluffing their numbers, right? Alrighty. And then last but not least, the best practice for any campaign, honestly, not only for a collaboration campaign, is to optimize. Always measure everything, track all of it, use different analytic tools. If you have Google Analytics, make sure you're creating a specific UTM tracking URLs or links so you can track the campaign. Give a different link for each influencer so you can always track the performance of their campaigns, of their posts. If they are sending traffic to your newsletter, don't use the same list for all of them. Make sure that you're creating a specific list for each one of those influencers. This is the best way for you to track which one was successful and which one was not. Because once you run the first campaign, later you can be like, let me only work with these two instead of working with these 6 influencers because these 2 were the ones that were the most, I forgot the word. They were the best. Okay? So always analyze the engagement metrics as well. Like, how are they making comments? If they're liking, sharing the posts. Of course, everybody wants their content to go viral, but that's not always the case, especially for business to business. So make sure that you are measuring all the other metrics and understand kind of like how the content is resonating with your audience, right? Okay. I went too fast. There you go. Alrighty, so now let's go with the examples. As usual, we are good with time. Okay, I only have like 10 more minutes left. So my first case study is IBM. So IBM partnered with different influencers in the tech space to increase their brand visibility. Let me just... There you go, so no distractions. All right. So they partner with technology, tech influencers to enhance your brand visibility, showcasing their expertise with cloud computing and AI, of course, right? We all heard about Watson, and they had for a period of time, like a lot of influencers testing their actual product and just making comments about that, right? So the strategy was basically for them to create a specific educational content on how to use their platform, how to use what kind of like inputs and prompts to put Also, they participating and sponsor a lot of events. So this is also, again, it's a type of collaboration, right? So it's not only sponsoring, but actually when you are able to sponsor, you can create a collaboration part of it where they are not only just showing your logo, but they're actually interacting with your brand, with your product, and they are creating content during the event and posting that content. That's a great collaboration as well. They're sharing a specific insights, kind of like a live testimonial of your platform, right? And they make sure that you're also very clear on what platforms you want them to share. Like in this case, IBM, the influencers were sharing it in LinkedIn and Twitter, right? Or X. And all of them were very clear on what were kind of like the keywords that kind of like the technological innovations. It doesn't mean that you're going to give them a script, right? But you're simply giving them like, hey, here's my product and these are all the benefits, right? So by you providing that information, right, like the influencer is going to know, oh, okay, so this is kind of like my guideline. This is what I need to go and check, right? So of course, what kind of content they're going to be talking about? They're going to be talking about the benefits, trying to prove like, hey, this technology innovation is working, this is not working. So all of these helped IBM create significant engagement, positioning their brand, of course, as a thought leader. We all know, who doesn't know IBM, right? In the industry as well. Now, next we have SAP. So SAP, also, we know we're very well familiar with SAP. So they collaborated again with industry experts to promote their software solutions and the digital transformation services, right? Like kind of like that they offer. So they looked for specific influencers. They identified their list of influencers, kind of like following the steps that we all that I shared earlier. And they created a co-creation strategy. So basically, they decided to host webinars along with the actual influencers, right? They also co-created content for blog posts and different interviews where they were talking about the specific digital transformation topics and the different software solutions that they offer to facilitate digital transformations. Now, of course, this initiative, because they were because they were interviews with industry experts, it positioned SAP as the thought leader, right? And also, they were able to build this trust and credibility in their target audience, like leading to a higher engagement and, of course, more business opportunity, which at the end of the day, this is what we're all here today. Okay, and then last but not least, we have Amex. Okay, so American Express did the same thing, but with them, they collaborated with different business consultants and, of course, financial partners, right? Like financial influencers, to promote all of their business-to-business services, including small business credit cards and corporate solutions that they offer. The strategy was a little bit more simple, I should say. So basically, it just included engaging with influencers to just share their testimonials and talk a little bit more on like a live Q&A sessions where they're talking about their different credit cards and solutions, right? So it's a different type of product, right? It's a little bit more, I should say, a little bit more transactional, right? But of course, American Express are very big on creating community. And that's what they try to do with this campaign as well. So they engage with these influencers where, yes, they were sharing testimonials, they were answering questions on Q&A settings, but they were also promoting the services that Amex, the benefits, right, that they've had ever since they engaged with Amex, right? So, of course, this resulted in more brand awareness for American Express and increased credibility on the business-to-business space, right? Like on the small business consultant space. And, of course, this resulted in more sales for Amex. All right. So there you have it. So Creating a collaboration, as you can see, it's very dynamic. So it's not only looking for an influencer that's going to be in front of a camera dancing, but when you're talking business to business, you have way more options, right? You can do webinars, you can host podcast interviews, testimonials, Q&A, you create a specific event. But the key is to make sure that you're choosing a partner that has a large audience, and that audience matches your audience persona and is matching the core values of your company. So the freebie that I'm going to be offering today is, as you can see, everything that I mentioned today is making sure that you're choosing someone that's matching your audience persona. So I'm going to give you a free template to help you build that audience persona. And remember that in corporate or in business to business, you're typically not talking only to one decision maker. You're typically talking to the assistant of the buyer, then you have the buyer, you have the project manager perhaps, then you probably have the CEO. So that alone is 4 people within an organization. Sometimes with some customers, we've actually identified 7 different people within an organization that we need to target. And each person, they have different pain points. They have different groups they attend. They have different questions. They are usually in a different stage in their buying process. So that's why it's really important to create an audience persona, like an avatar of each one of them, based on the different stages that they find themselves and also the different pain points that they have. So there you have it, right on time. Actually, we have like 3 minutes left. So if you found this helpful, please make sure that you share. And I hope to see you on the next event, which is going to be, I feel like, the first week of December. And I hope to see you then. Make comments. I review the comments after the webinar as well. Hope to see you soon. Bye.